Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about how to break a bad habit. I'm going to explore why unwanted habits keep popping up in your life, and then I'm going to give you a simple 3-step process you can follow to get rid of them for good. I'm Sara Stilleke. I'm a scientist and salesperson, and I love learning and talking about how to use science to become more productive and successful. The first thing we want to get clear on is, what exactly is a habit? We hear so much about good habits and bad habits, but what makes something a habit? And why are these habits so powerful? A habit is a behavior or set of behaviors that we perform regularly and often subconsciously. You probably perform many habit routines each day without even realizing it. Habits can be simple, like your morning hygiene routine of showering and then brushing your teeth. If you shower and then brush your teeth every day, chances are you are not making a conscious choice each morning about whether you should shower or brush your teeth first. Habits can also be complex, like driving a car. There are many different and important actions involved with driving safely from your home to the grocery store. But chances are you can perform this action at least somewhat subconsciously. Habits are important to help your brain sort through the massive amounts of information and tasks we encounter every day. Without habits, it would take so much focus and effort just to get ready in the morning that we would have no mental energy to do anything else for the rest of the day, and we would be exhausted all the time. While habits are extremely powerful and serve an important purpose, unfortunately, sometimes our brains can form habits that we don't necessarily want to keep around. Maybe you were feeling stressed at work one day, so you ate a candy bar and noticed that the sugar rush and delicious chocolate flavor made you feel less stressed. Consciously, you probably enjoyed the little sugar rush and the chocolatey flavor. You took a second to breathe and calm down, and you went back to work. Subconsciously, your brain noticed that when you experienced that cue of feeling stressed at work, the candy bar helped get rid of those bad feelings. It filed away that information deep in your brain. So the next time you felt stressed at work, your brain immediately recognized, aha, I recognize this feeling of stress, and I know that eating a candy bar will help me feel better. Before you know it, every time you feel stressed at work, you will subconsciously crave a candy bar until you barely notice that the two things, stress and candy bars, are intertwined. Our brain's desire to form habits is so powerful that we often don't even notice bad habits are forming until it becomes too late. If you are currently living with a bad habit, you're not alone. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 74% of adults living in the United States are currently overweight, which includes the 43% of people who are obese. There are 38 million American adults who are regular smokers, and Americans spent an average of 1,300 hours on social media last year, each. The good news is that scientists have made great strides in understanding how habits are formed at a biological level, and we can use that knowledge to break our bad habits so that we can live our lives on our own terms. Now, I love a good step-by-step process, so here is a 3-step process that you can follow to help break your bad habits so that you can be free to design your own life. The first step to breaking a bad habit is to get really clear on what that habit is costing you. If you feel stressed one time and eat a bag of potato chips to feel more relaxed, that may not seem like such a big deal. And you're right, it's probably not. But if you feel stressed every day and turn to junk food every time you feel stressed, that one-time coping mechanism can really compound. Sit down and ask yourself, what will my life be like if I continue living with this bad habit? It may not be so bad if the habit continues for a few days, but what will your life look like in 1 year, 5 years, 20 years? With another 20 years of unhealthy eating, you will likely be overweight and suffering from weight-related health issues such as heart disease, trouble with mobility, low self-esteem, and even early death. It's definitely a depressing exercise, but by identifying what your bad habit is costing you in the long term, and feeling these strong negative emotions now, you can start to identify your why at the core of why this habit needs to change. I've used junk food as an example here, But this process is the same for any other bad habit you may be working through. Maybe you're a smoker, or maybe you drink alcohol more than you feel you should be drinking. Perhaps you are a workaholic and think, my spouse and kids won't mind if I work late just this one more time. Maybe you spend too much time watching TV or browsing social media. Whatever it is, try to visualize what your life will look like if you continue on with this bad habit and take it to the extreme. Once you can feel the negative feelings, it will be easier to decide that this habit is something that you are no longer going to tolerate in your life. Whew. Step 1 was super intense, but I promise the next 2 steps will be much more fun. Now that you've identified and felt the feelings that you will no longer tolerate in your life, we get to create a new identity for ourselves. This sounds a little bit out there, but bear with me for just a second. Let's say that the bad habit that you are trying to break is around drinking alcohol. Step 2 is to form a strong new identity around that habit, and you get to decide what that is. In our example, let's say that I want to quit drinking alcohol completely, and this is going to be my new identity. I am now a person who doesn't drink. If somebody were to come up to me and offer me a glass of wine, there are a few ways I could respond. I could say, ugh, no thanks. I'm trying to quit drinking. The message does get across and is admirable, but it doesn't feel all that great or empowering. Or, when somebody offers me a glass of wine, I could respond, no thanks, I don't drink. Can you hear the difference? When I say, no thanks, I don't drink, I now identify as somebody who doesn't drink. And drinking is not even an option anymore. If you can start identifying as somebody who has already broken the habit that you want to break, and who already has the habits that you want to have, making good choices will feel like the default rather than the exception. This may seem like a subtle shift, but if you continue identifying with your bad habit while trying to break it, you will always feel a sense of suffering or deprivation. If you identify as somebody who drinks alcohol, every time you decline alcohol will feel like a sacrifice or like denying some sort of default. But if you shift to identifying as somebody who does not drink alcohol, then declining alcohol becomes an extra vote of confidence for yourself as somebody who does not drink alcohol. There are so many examples of how you can make this shift in identity. For example, if you would like to quit smoking, I'm a non-smoker. If you would like to exercise more often, I am an athlete. If you would like to stop eating junk food, I'm a healthy eater. If you would like to stop going to bed late, I'm a morning person. And if you would like to become less shy, I'm a confident person. Hopefully you had some fun with step 2, and you're starting to become more excited about your new identity. Finally, we can work on execution, which brings us to step 3. Create systems to support your new habit. It's great to feel a surge of motivation, but let's face it, we are not always going to feel motivated 24/7. When you are in the trenches of your daily life, experiencing stress and overwhelm in the heat of the moment, the likelihood of you being able to generate sufficient motivation to avoid performing that bad habit are slim to none. That's why we are going to take advantage of our smart, motivated selves now, so that we can plan for when we are feeling dumb and unmotivated later. You have probably already done this to some extent in your life. Have you ever written a grocery list of things you needed to pick up from the supermarket? Your smart, motivated self prepares a shopping list now because you know that if you wander into that grocery store without it, you're going to probably fill your cart with whatever looks fast and tasty. And when you're hungry and wandering aimlessly through a supermarket, broccoli is probably not the thing that looks fast and tasty. This is an example of our smart, motivated selves creating a system, the grocery list, so that our dumb, unmotivated future selves can still make good choices. We are investing in our smart, motivated energy now to create a system that we can follow, even when we are not at the top of our games. We can also create systems to make it more difficult to perform bad habits. I used to find myself mindlessly opening my social media apps and scrolling through them. If I ever had a moment of downtime or needed a short break from focusing at work, my fingers would automatically open those apps on my phone almost subconsciously. I do enjoy scrolling through social media, but wanted to make this less of a mindless habit. So, I deleted the apps off my phone. This way, I can still check my social media, but only on my computer. This cut down significantly on my level of distraction throughout the day. These are just a few examples of how you can plan now to create a system to break your bad habit. But there are so many different things you can do, so don't be afraid to get creative. You can even get a little crazy with this. If you want to break the habit of mindlessly flipping on the TV after work, try putting the remote control in a remote corner of the house. Bonus points if you remove the batteries from the remote and put them in a remote corner at the other end of your house. If you want to break the habit of hitting the snooze button 3 to 4 times when your alarm goes off in the morning, try setting up your automatic coffee machine to start making coffee 10 minutes after the first alarm without the coffee pot in place. This way, you'll have a system in place to incentivize you to get out of bed after that first alarm and come downstairs to put the coffee pot in place, or risk cleaning up a big mess. Breaking a habit is almost never going to be easy, and is almost never going to happen overnight, with few exceptions. But I hope that after watching this video, you can see that there are things you can do to break your unwanted habits in a less painful, more systematic way. To summarize, step 1 is to get really clear on what your bad habit is costing you, and how your life will look in the future if you don't make any changes. Step 2 is to create a new identity for yourself, an identity where you no longer even feel interested in associating with the bad habit. And step 3 is to use that initial motivation that you're feeling right now to create systems in your life to make performing the unwanted habit more difficult. If you want to learn more about habits and how to level up to your peak performance, you can subscribe to this channel to watch more of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.